Look now to the voice. By this time tomorrow, the polls will be closed across much of the country. The count will have commenced too on the biggest constitutional change we've ever been asked to make. Soon enough, we'll know whether or not our constitution is to remain colourblind, and whether we will be and continue to be, in Bob Hawke's immortal words, a country with no hierarchy of descent, no privilege of origin. As I've been saying for weeks now, this is more important than an election, because you can change a bad government, you can change a bad law, but if you make a serious constitutional mistake, you're all but stuck with it forever. Whatever the outcome, people will be bruised. If the voice goes down, yes voters will likely see this as a rebuke of Aboriginal people. Now that's wrong. It's a rebuke of a bad idea. But making it personal is the line that's been fed to voters from the Prime Minister and activists like Noel Pearson and Stan Grant.
When you're overseas, you have to constantly, you're almost an ambassador for your own country. Mm-hmm. You have to explain your country to other people. And you know, it really saddened me that the word that I kept coming back to was mean. And I think we have become an increasingly mean country. I think there's an absence of kindness in our country. You hear it in things like, if you don't know, vote no. That's a mean thing to say.
On the other hand, if the voice gets up, no voters will feel like we've turned our back on constitutional equality and started down the path of being a country divided by race, on the path to a treaty with ourselves for no practical improvement in the lives of those living in remote Indigenous communities. As a nation, we will get over the dissension and moral bullying of the past few months, because as a people, we are better and stronger and more egalitarian than the left and the elites give us credit for. But we should never have been put in such a position, asked to vote on just the vibe for a big change on such a sensitive subject. If the voice fails, as I hope it does, as I believe it should, it will be the Prime Minister's reputation for judgment that suffers the most lasting damage.
There's a lot of pressure on families and small businesses right around the country, and I think the Prime Minister's got to get back to those priorities. He's been obsessed with the voice for the last 16 or 17 months, and I think he's lost the faith of a lot of Australians.
And to the Prime Minister's rejection of this immortal plea, a speech that's now 60 years old this year, a speech that has been the one guiding principle for me, standing in opposition to the voice from day one.
I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today. And when we allow freedom ring, when we let it ring from every village and every hamlet, from every state and every city, we will be able to speed up that day when all of God's children, black men and white men, Jews and Gentiles, Protestants and Catholics, will be able to join hands and sing in the words of the old Negro spiritual, free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last.